All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to AMA with DNK. We are live, and if you just allow me a couple of more seconds before people join in, we can get started. So, let me quickly check and cross check whether we are live. And this is episode 2 of AMA with DNK. Thank you so much for joining in. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. But as I said, if you are watching this on Facebook, come on YouTube and subscribe to the channel because very soon we're going to convert this into a YouTube exclusive only. Okay, fantastic. So, today's topic or today's live is going to be around where, of course, I'll be picking up a few questions from your side, but will be around future of video content and social media platforms. Like last time, I told you that we might be doing a session on innovation, business models, things like that. But I pushed that session to next week because I think this week something really very exciting happened. Instagram released Reels, and that completely shifted the dynamics in terms of the social media platform consumption and also the video consumption. So I think I was personally, if you follow me on Instagram, you would be seeing my stories that I was really excited to talk about how this launch of Instagram Reels is going to disrupt the entire uh, ecosystem, video ecosystem. It's going to disrupt the entire, uh, uh, or rather, going to change the entire video game or video content game, right? So, in today's session, we're going to talk about that. And of course, I will be picking up and taking a few questions from your side. So, stay tuned till the end. And I have got a few very nice and pretty exciting insights from my end for you guys. So let's get started. Just a second. If you give me a second to fix a few things before I kickstart again. Okay. So all those who joined, once again, thank you so much for joining on AM with DNK Saturday evening. And I'm happy and excited to talk to all of you guys today. The topic for today is future of social media content, future of social media platforms, and future of video content. As I said, I am pretty excited about this topic for the day because Instagram launched Reels, and I think uh, this is a good time to talk about how the entire video content space is going to change. So, if you are maybe a startup guy or a marketeer or somebody who's into video content space, I think this on this live I'm going to give you a lot of insights about how can you one leverage video content, how can you leverage video content for your marketing, of course, of building your personal brand, and most importantly, how the entire social media game is going to change in the next upcoming years, right? So before I jump into today's discussion and I start answering questions, and of course, as I said, just like last time, I have a few questions which I already have received. My team has collected. I'm going to pick up on all those questions. I'm going to talk about all those questions. And of course, if you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section. If you're watching it on Facebook, put them into Facebook comments. If you're watching it on YouTube, put them into YouTube comments. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, come on YouTube, subscribe to the channel because very soon is going to be YouTube exclusive. Okay, so for a quick introduction for all those who don't know me, my name is Dilnawaz. I am the founder of a company called Codesign Labs, and I also run another company called PowerDeck. I very closely work with a lot of startups. I am very closely associated with startup ecosystem, and I have a very special passion and inclination towards working with startups and helping them and support them in multiple ways. Right. Previously, I have worked with Startup Oasis, United Seed Fund, and multiple other incubators. And the reason why we host these sessions, most importantly, on a Saturday night, is because one, to give you a lot of knowledge around what's happening. Of course, answering a lot of your questions around startups, but we don't want to make it very, very generic, as I said last time. So therefore, we decide a topic, we stick to a topic, and we try and answer. I basically try and answer the questions around that particular topic, so that we don't diverge and we don't make it a general GAM session. We're able to kind of stick to a point and then give you more value around those areas, right? So let's get started. As I said before, I jump into the discussion. Let me remove the distractions. And okay, so the first point that I want to talk with all of you today is about the future of video content, social media marketing. We have seen in the past couple of years, or rather couple of recent past 3 years, that the video content marketing has recently changed the entire landscape of whether it is advertising, whether it is company promotions, whether it is whether it is marketing. And so first question is, why is video marketing a hot sector? I think that's the question number one, and that's the most important question we need to understand and answer. That why video content somewhat and somehow, and I'm talking pre-COVID era, right? So I will also be talking about how this entire dynamics has changed into post-COVID, and of course we'll be talking about that. But when I'm talking about pre-COVID era, right? There are three major reasons why the entire video content game came into play, right? So number one reason is with the rise of mobile marketing, or with the rise of internet, high quality internet accessibility and cheaper mobile availability. I think these were the two very critical factors that led people to push video on mobile devices, and that's why micro videos came into the picture. Otherwise, if you see before, if you reverse the entire scenario 5 years behind, or maybe let us say 8 years behind, 10 years behind, when videos were not, when mobiles were not video compatible, I think videos in general was not a very hot sector to be in, right? There was nothing called as a YouTube live or a Facebook live or Instagram was technically pretty much not existing, right? But with the rise of cheaper internet and of course high quality mobile phones, or cheaper and high quality and better quality mobile phones, I think video became a hot sector and people started doing something called as video marketing. So mobile, internet, and video, all of these three combined together in a common package, and I think that was the most important thing that led to the rise of video platforms and video as a medium of marketing. Number one. Second, if we see with time, the overall uh, production cost of a video has gone down significantly. Right now, we have tools that enable you to do video production. Now you have, in fact, SaaS-based tools, online tools that enable you to upload your file and edit on the air. So now you don't need tools like Premiere Pro or like fancy expensive softwares, or rather, you don't need even heavy equipment. Right? I'm using a tool called StreamYard that is enabling me to stream this live to you in a very in a nicely sophisticated studio environment, right? So I have everything available just on my screen, and the software is enabling everything to happen, right? So with the significant decline in the cost of video production, I think video became a big thing for the companies, right? And of course, video has its advantage, right? That's the reason why people on cinema and television are pretty famous, because audio and video, if combined together in the right way, can give a lot of brand value to anything that you produce, right? So so decline in the video production quality was another factor. Third is that, of course, as I said, internet became the most critical factor in this entire game. But the accessibility or the availability or the facility to talk to your customer live, right, in an environment where you can where people can see and feel you. It is not a scripted thing that you're doing. It's not a cosmetic thing you're doing. You're talking to your followers, your people, your customers, your loyal fans. You're talking to them in a live environment. I think that brought in a lot of human touch to the entire video environment, and that is why video became such a popular space to be in. right? So summarizing these 3 points together, why video is a hot sector and why if you're a marketer you need to get into the video content space is one, because of the cheaper mobile phones and accessibility to better quality internet. I think mobiles were one of the reasons why video became a popular way of marketing. Second, and most importantly, video production costs significantly went down. There are SaaS software is available. There are cheaper software is available that enable you to produce high quality videos. And last but not the least, getting in touch with your customers, the followers, with your fans at a real time enabled companies to adopt a live strategy. And this is the reason why video became such a popular tool for marketing. Right now, if we in general analyze this space, there are multiple methods when we talk about video and video marketing, which companies have been leveraging. And I will definitely come back onto the point where I want to talk about how this entire dynamics will change further with the introduction of Instagram Reels, and how TikTok and other such social media platform with the micro video content where any which is disrupting the area, and how you as a startup, you as a business can leverage all of this right now, and how this entire thing will change the future of social media and the social media platform. We'll talk about that in the later half in today's AMA, right? Meanwhile, if you have questions, feel free to post. I'll be more than happy to answer those questions, right? So, how can business and startups leverage video marketing or video content marketing, right? So there are multiple ways a business can leverage. There are already a few of the ways which were pretty much out there already. Explainer videos, presentation videos, vlogs. A lot of people were doing vlogs. You have so many YouTubers making vlogs, video tutorials, video training series. Then you have webinars, you have video ads coming up. So these are a few things. Other than that, you have video customer testimonials. So people do not have written testimonials; they rather prefer a video testimonial because that gives a lot better uh, interaction, or a lot better convenience in terms of giving a social proof and engaging with people. Then you have interviews happening, you have product videos happening, you have product demos happening online, and most importantly, you have live streams and live videos happening online, right? People can come on live and chat with people and talk to people. All these things are happening. So these are a lot of different ways and areas which businesses can leverage, as I said. And life, of course, became one of the most critical factors while this was all happening, right? So explainer videos, presentations, vlogs, tutorials, webinars, ads, customer testimonials, interviews, podcast, or video podcasts rather, product videos, live videos, all of them became a really, really popular tool. And with the introduction of short form of video content, like a clip format, something that can be circulated on a WhatsApp, or something that can be circulated on an Instagram as a short video clip, something that can be just shared from one mobile phone to another, uh, and something which has capacity of going viral. I think that was one thing that led to the rise or the boost in the entire video ecosystem, right? So uh, before we jump into how the scenario will change going further, let us let us understand the precursor of this entire thing, right? And very recently we have seen that TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, rather especially TikTok and YouTube, were in a cold war, and rather they were in a war, and there were so many discussions happening around TikTok versus YouTube, and everybody was talking about it. But let us understand why TikTok was so famous. There's a specific reason, because I personally believe that a company which is worth, so for all those who are watching this and maybe a few of you do not know, uh, TikTok was backed by or is run by a company called ByteDance, and ByteDance is more than a $50 billion company. Right. So if a company is backing such an entity, I'm very sure there would be something intelligent and interesting which was going on. Right. So, uh, let us first understand why TikTok was so famous, and especially let us analyze this entire thing from both creator and consumer perspective. Because I have been asked this question multiple times, and in not just online, online session, online Q&A, but a lot of times offline also. I have spoken about this, and it's a very strong case study. Rather, I consider I personally consider TikTok to be a very nice, rather a great product example. So if you are a startup enthusiast watching this today, listen to these points, and they might help you in building the next big platform or next big tech platform or tech tool out there, right? Because TikTok is a great case study. A lot of brilliant brains were working hard in terms of making the product, the kind of it was. A lot of you might not like it from the consumer point of view. You can say that it was a cringy platform, or you can say the content was cringe, or it was not up to the mark. But when we are building something as an entrepreneur, when we're designing something as a product engineer, when we're designing something, coding something from a UI UX point of view, I think as a product designer, product engineer, we have to make sure that that thing goes viral, or that thing is easy to use, and we have to make sure that uh, more people use it, right? So irrespective of what content was on that platform, I will not jump into that discussion, but it was a great case study. It was a great tool. It was a great, I would say, a great product to kind of study if you have to build a product yourself, if you are a product enthusiast. So let us first look from the creator's point of view, and I have compiled a few points from my own research in terms of why I personally believe TikTok was a great platform, and what can modern marketeers, modern startup guys, people who are getting started now, who are going to build mobile applications, uh, can learn from it, right? So let's talk about that. So I think number one reason why India was one of the biggest consumer of TikTok is because I think let us look, because one of the biggest reasons is the demographics in India, in our country. If you look at the overall demographics right now, 50% of our population is below the age of 25. I'm going by the stats put on Wikipedia, and more than 65% of the population is below 35, right? And that's quite a young population, considering we are 130, or rather 138, if I don't know the exact number. We are 130 plus crore people, right? 1.3 billion, right? That's a huge number, right? So if we look at like a 50% stat, that's roughly 70, 80 crore people who are into a category of extremely young, right? So why this young factor affects any platform? Because if you are young, you have a lot of aspirations, and you want to be famous, you want to make more money, you have bigger aspirations, and the bigger the youth is in the country, the higher the aspirations are, right? And TikTok acted as a great platform in order so that people can showcase their talent on a platform and become famous or make money, right? Another attached point, or another connected narrative that I have with this particular point is that if you look at 10 years down the line, or rather 5 years down the line, I'm not sure about 5, but I'm very sure about 10, being an influencer, being a content creator, being a YouTuber, rather being a digital influencer, was not a viable career option, right? So now TikTok basically, or platforms like these, even Instagram, opened the doors for young guys to pursue a career and showcase their talent to the world out there, and and change and adapt and take being an influencer, being a digital content creator, as a viable career option. And I'm sure people were fine, the parents are fine letting these kids pick up these careers as a viable career option. So right, so you have people, you have youth, which is aspirational, you have a platform which is allowing people to showcase their talent, and most importantly, the moment you start showcasing this talent can be converted into a viable career option. So the entire ecosystem became in place together the moment TikTok came and Instagram came in this space. Second reason that I think why platform plays a very important role, and why internet, and why democratized internet plays a very critical role in growth of any country, any strata of the society, is because it gives equal opportunity, right? So if we talk about pre-internet era, right, you needed a platform where a lot of gatekeepers were there, right? If you wanted to become a model, there were modeling agencies. If you wanted to get into Bollywood, there were casting agencies or maybe production houses and things like that. With internet, what happened, that the entire ecosystem became more democratized. So if you are talented, you are any which is going to go viral. This is the reason why we see a lot of people with from the lower income group of the society coming onto TikTok and start showcasing their talent, right? Because it was easier to plug in, it was easier to kind of get it done, right? So I think TikTok opened a great platform. It opened a lot of doors for people who are not able to get access to opportunities, and we have seen ourselves in our routine, lives and social media, that people who look normal and do not look like celebrities or models suddenly became stars on TikTok, and this is the reason why, because they were normal people like us, and the moment people could realize that hey, a normal person is famous, I might not be able to connect with Shah Rukh Khan for that matter, or maybe Hrithik Roshan, because people around me do not look like that. But if I'm able to connect with somebody who looks like me, or where I can get more connected because of the resemblance, I think there's a higher chance of them going viral, right? So democratization became the second point. Third and most important point, which I have already mentioned in the video content thing, was that TikTok uh, leveraged the entire wave of geo internet burst. Basically, this is exactly the same thing what Facebook leveraged when in 2008, 2009, when Facebook entered India. We saw a huge decline in the number of cyber cafes going out of business, and we saw that a lot of people started using broadband, and higher penetration of broadband made Facebook what it is today, right? So similarly, TikTok, this is exactly the wave TikTok leveraged, right? So what did they do? They basically leverage the wave of cheaper smartphones with higher features and cheaper internet, which is of high quality, right? So imagine an app which is just on a mobile device, enables you to put your content or put your word out there without any major platform restrictions, and most importantly, you can do it because you have access to internet and you have access to a smartphone, right? So I think these three are very important critical points why TikTok became so famous. And of course, it was just trying to play into the mobile space game, which basically is the reason why Instagram also became famous at one point in time. But these are a few pointers from the consumer side of the game. Now let us also understand from the UI UX point of view, and this is very important in my understanding, that we need to understand from a creator point of view, from the product engineer point of view, why TikTok was such a great app. So I think one of the most important things why TikTok became so famous is because I think it reduced the pre-production or production cost to almost zero or negligible. You have an app where you have all the features. You have you have a tool through which you can clip or crop or add an effect or multiply multiple things. So the production engine of the bare minimum app was so strong that it let people create high quality video content without using more devices. So all you needed was, you were just leveraging the power of your smartphone, and you were able to make high quality video content, right? Second most important, as I said, you do not need a studio or a equipment or light or sound or anything else. No set, you don't need anything else, right? Most importantly, if the and I'll talk about that as well, that when we talk about other platforms have a very huge entry barrier. The TikTok acted as a low hanging fruit in terms of all you had to do was click and upload, and the lowest hanging fruit on TikTok was lip sync. So people who were afraid and who did not have that much of confidence that they could become content creators, right? For them, the entry barrier was reduced to a level of just lip sync, right? So you had to put in zero creativity just to be in the platform, and all you had to do was just lip sync on a song and upload it. And imagine if you do it 100 times, right? After a point in time, you will start becoming more creative, and after a point in time, you will start applying your own creativity and start experimenting. So this was a great thing. So if you're also building a product tomorrow, I think it's a great insight or a great learning that you need to, especially from the consumer market point of view, you need to make sure that your product has such a low friction, such a low entry barrier, that people start adopting it like anything, right? And as I said, of course, you need not to be educated, right, to use the platform, especially as a creator. So even from the creator side, I think the entry barriers were really very low, whether it's production, whether it's equipment, whether it is creativity, or whether it is usage of the app, the entire UI UX. If you were a creator, the entry barrier was reduced to such a level that it was very, very easy for you to go onto the platform and kind of start making your content, right? Also, from the consumer point of view, I have another part, because I wanted to really dissect it to a very deep level and give you a lot of insights in this particular AMA today. So again, if you look from the consumer point of view, I think the app, you just had to start the app, you just have to tap on the app, and you were getting started, right? There was nothing else that you were supposed to do. So the app would, if you just click, and the app would kickstart, and there was infinite content which was coming your way. That infinite content was giving a lot of dopamine effect to people, because there was always something new in every 15 seconds or 60 seconds which would give you a kick. So from a consumer point of view, I think it's a great app. So as a generalist, or as a general guy out there, from the social point of view, you might say that it's a bad thing, right? But from a product designer point of view, I think it's a great strategy. As a product designer, as an entrepreneur, as a startup guy, you want your product to have that high stickiness factor, right? There's a reason why Instagram introduced stories. There's a reason why Twitter has introduced something called as, I think, Flick, right? And there's a reason why Facebook has stories and WhatsApp stories, because when you put up a post, the factor of FOMO, which is fear of missing out, is not there, because the post can be seen anytime. But imagine if you put a content which disappears in like next 24 hours, it pushes the user to come back on the app and check the content, because because otherwise he'll miss the content. There'll be a factor of FOMO for him, right? So if you are a product engineer, if you are a guy who's designing a product, it is extremely critical and crucial for you to learn all these things, because if you do not design a product with a high stickiness factor, your product is going to fail, right? So the tap to start, the infinite scrolling, the infinite content, the dopamine effect it would generate, and most importantly, any uneducated guy who do not understand Hindi, English, or anything else could also use it. That's a huge market, right? So if you think that that particular market, and that's the reason why nobody else was able to tap that market, right? So this is the reason why TikTok became so famous. They basically tapped the bottom of the pyramid, but the huge market is there, right? So this is one of the reasons why they went on to becoming so popular and so big in a country like India, right? Because everybody in the elite class, everybody in the top tier, right, was already using Facebook or Live or Instagram or a lifestyle app like an Instagram or things like that, right? But TikTok became a go-to platform for people at the bottom of the pyramid, and this is the reason why they became so famous, right? I hope these uh, were a couple of interesting insights for you from the product development point of view. Again, I'm reiterating, guys, and I want to kind of wrap this particular part and move on to the next part and take a few more questions. But I really want you to understand, and also going to watch it back. I want you to understand that uh, you will have to, at some point in time, you have to start thinking like a creator. You'll have to start thinking like an entrepreneur, or maybe an entrepreneur, because tomorrow you will be going out there and building something on your of your own. And when you're building something of your own, you want people to have a high sticky factor. You want people to use it, consume it, right? And this is the reason we can't always be in the shoes of a consumer and say, okay, hey, TikTok is a bad product. We need to be in the shoes of creator and analyze and dissect and see what makes a product go viral, what makes a product uh, have that high sticky factor, that tomorrow when you build a product and put it on the market, maximum number of people use it with minimum friction and minimum training. Because acquiring customers is another huge cost, and we will talk about that customer acquisition costs and things like that in some session maybe later on. But I think these are this should literally blow your mind if you analyze this, right? I'm not. This is the reason why what differentiates us entrepreneurs. We look at the opportunities, we dissect things, and we try and analyze from a very open and logical perspective. We don't want to jump into a debate of right versus wrong. We don't want to jump into a debate of TikTok versus YouTube. Both the platforms are equally important, because both of them are billion-dollar companies, and that is what matters at the end of the day. Okay, moving ahead now. So another couple of questions that I got were around other platforms and future of other platforms and future of other video platforms. So I've compiled all that information together again in the second section, and I'll now try and talk about and answer about all those things, right? So my next part is where I start talking about YouTube, and then of course we'll gradually move on to Instagram, which is the talk of the town, right? The hot sector to talk about, right? So let's understand. Let us look at the question that I got summarized into uh, why YouTube, is difficult to do, right? Or why YouTube has such a high friction, or what are the key factors people need to keep in mind before getting onto YouTube space. Of course, I was in one of the conversations with one of my guest speakers during cracking the code last week, but and she said, Felicia said very clearly that if you still want to be on YouTube, in India, the content consumption has multiplied by 4 times, right? In COVID times, right? So YouTube is still a good to go platform, but what creates a friction for people before jumping onto YouTube? So why YouTube is difficult to do, and why it's a tough nut to crack? Why people still are on Instagram and TikTok and Instagram Reels, and why YouTube is a tough nut to crack? So let's talk about that. So three reasons why I think YouTube is a tough game or tough nut to crack is: number one, YouTube in general supports long form of content, right? So in YouTube, you will never find like a 15-second or a 60-second content. You typically a sweet spot is a 5 or a 7 or an 8 minute piece of content, leading up to like a 60 minute or a 50 minute if it's a high content, high value knowledge webinar or a seminar, right? So that's a 5 6 minute, 7 minute, 8 minute is a sweet spot what YouTube caters to. Now, what this does is that this is only done when you are able to compile all your thoughts together, when you're able to write a proper script, and you're able to have a lot of pre-production done and research done in order to produce this content. So I think uh, content research, creativity, script writing, pre-production. These are a few factors so these are a few factors that make YouTube a tough nut to crack or a tough space to be in. Number one. Number two, if you still want to do YouTube, and of course, a lot of you can begin from your simple webcams and mobile cameras and things like that, but you still need fancy and high quality equipments both for pre and post production, right? You still need a lot of equipments. You can't keep on making high quality, fancy YouTube videos just through your mobile phone, right? And even the mobile phone has to be really of high quality and expensive. And then you, of course, need a lot of tools for post production, right? So I think YouTube creates a lot of entry barrier and a lot of friction the moment you get into the production game, whether it's a pre-production or it's a post-production. I think it's again a lot of space, lot of difficult space to be in. And third, of course, the cost associated with it, right? So if you have to get into YouTube, you really need to spend some money. You really have to put money in pre-production, post-production, costumes, equipment, studio, editing, things like that. And therefore YouTube becomes an expensive game, right? So if you do not have money, or if you any which way are not making enough money and you can't invest money on every YouTube video that you produce, YouTube will be a tough game to crack, because the expectation of the platform is very difficult from the audience's point of view. And I think this is a very important insight for all of us to understand, right? A platform is just a medium out there. It is what we consume, right? So your Facebook will feed you the content that you watch on it more, or you like more, or you comment more, or you subscribe to more. Similarly, TikTok would give you the content you watch more, because the algorithms are designed to feed you content what you like, and the kind of content your people in your network are watching. So if you think your platform is becoming negative, or it's feeding you bad content, just kind of either unfollow those people, or try and kind of narrow down your preferences, and I think you will start getting better quality content. So what I was saying is these are the three reasons why, as I said, YouTube becomes a tough nut to crack. Research, creativity, pre-production cost, script writing. Then you need a studio, you need equipment, you need to put in a lot of cost, and all these things areas makes YouTube a tough nut to crack. And also, if we parallelly analyze other platforms other than YouTube, we will see that even other platforms have a very high friction, a very high entry barrier, right? So when it comes to Facebook, let's dissect each platform now. So if we come at Facebook, Facebook is primarily more of a textual platform. Right now, of course, it has got videos and lives and all of these things, but you need to be really good in English. And of course, now you have Facebook and Hindi, but you really need to be good in English. You should be able to read and write and then pen down your thoughts and put it in a proper order, and then you publish them on Facebook. So therefore, Facebook have an entry barrier of creativity, thinking, compiling your knowledge together and putting them on a piece of paper and kind of then getting posting it, right? So Facebook has an entry barrier in that form, and of course photographs and everything, you need to have high quality camera and all that, right? And it's predominantly English, right? So that's another barrier, right? If you look at Instagram, Instagram was always a luxury platform. So Instagram was never supposed to be a, a public a public platform or a journalist platform. If you look right from a coffee mug to a cloth brand, to a apparel brand, to any kind of a brand on Instagram, you will find that high quality premium luxury component in that space. So you'll not find people who do not look good on Instagram that often. It's more cosmetic. If you see, it's more romanticized in terms of what people put on Instagram. And the reason why Instagram is also hated by a lot of people, because they get into depression and they don't like what they see there because it's all glorious and fancy and good looking, right? So Instagram always had that entry barrier in terms of high quality photographs and writing the content and caption in terms of that. It was always promoted as a high class, better quality, better people platform, right? We have already spoken about YouTube, and then you have LinkedIn, which is more professional. You can't go and post any random shit on LinkedIn. You have to really think, multiple times. And then LinkedIn has its own niche audience, primarily English speaking, professional audience, which is again very limited, right? So this is the reason why other platforms had their own entry barrier. And this is the reason why TikTok became, again, I said, go-to platform for people because of cheaper internet, cheaper smartphone, low entry barrier, low friction, easy to use application model, UI, UX, and all these kind of things. Yeah. So I think these are a few points that I have kind of compiled from the video content space and the platform space. I have a few questions coming in. I'll now try and answer them, and then I have another two or three bigger questions and two or three bigger sets to talk about. I'll talk about that now as well, right? Okay. So I have a question from Sunny. He says, your views on integration of AI, AR, and VR with video content to improve online education. I think it's a. I think AI, AR, and VR are any which way the hot space. I think post COVID it has become a hotter sector. So I think it's a great space to be in. People should definitely will be making more AI, AR, and VR material. The only challenge with VR and AR is of AR has a restriction in terms of mobile quality, and VR is more hardware heavy, right? AI and AI is of course getting in built into a lot of softwares. So I think entry barrier is still there, but in terms of improving online education, I think online education itself has become a hot and a very competing sector, right? So I think all I can say is I think if you're trying to venture into online education or edtech sector in 2020 post COVID, I think it's a hot sector to be in. You should definitely think about it. And of course, AI, AR, and VR will definitely add to lot of value and lot of fancy features to and will act as an aid rather to get the online education delivered. I think that is one thing I can say. Okay, I hope this answers, Sunny. Another question is from Rahul: how to make video platforms convenient for specially abled users? Okay, I think it's a Rahul. Thank you for the question. I think it's a difficult question to answer because I don't have any specialization or much deeper understanding of building products for specially abled user. But I think the involvement of what Sunny said, AI one, and a lot of voice will enable people to kind of in general make social media and video platform more democratic for people with special abilities. But again, it's a special, being a specially abled user is a wide spectrum. If you have a problem in terms of, if you can't walk, I think that's a different sector. But if you can't write, or if you don't have hands, or if you're a physically challenged guy, I think it's a very open-ended and a different kind of a discussion to have. As I said, I am not an expert into suggesting anything around specially able users, but I think, as I said, video is a hot space to be in. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a quick 10-second break, and then we move on to the next part. Because next part, we're going to talk about Instagram Reels, right? Okay, I'll quickly have a sip of water and then we resume. Okay. One more. I've got one more question. Neeraj ji, I'll pick this question later once I finish. Now, a couple of more questions I've already received. But I'll be happy to pick up your question. Okay. So, why do I think that Instagram Reels, and this was one of the most popular question that appeared on my Instagram and appeared on my question collection, is that why do I think Reel will become the next disruptor, and why Instagram will basically be the king in the video war, or why it will emerge as the go-to platform in the video war. So let's talk about that. I think if we now look at Instagram, Instagram has kind of with the introduction of Reel, it has created it has filled the gap which was, or rather, it has filled a void which was created because of TikTok. And I think now it provides you the complete ecosystem in terms of putting your marketing material or content out there. So number one, you have post, which is both a still graphic, you can any which ways do it, and Instagram any which ways created carousel in that post. So you have a static graphic and you have a carousel. Then you have a post where you can put in videos, which is less than 60 seconds. Now you have reels, which is 15 seconds. Then you have 60-second plus and less than 10-minute content, which is predominantly on IGTV. And then you have a long format content, which is on IGTV, which is less than 60 minutes. So I think these are rather 5 or 6 major touch points on Instagram itself that will enable you to kind of churn out a lot of content in different formats. I think formatting content is a very important factor that we need to understand here. Now, let us look at another level of disruption that Instagram created. Number one, Instagram basically converted the entire product into a feature. TikTok and the likes of those. So when I say the likes of those, whether we talk about Roposo, or we talk about Mitro, or we talk about any other app which was trying to get or put their foot into the space of short form of video content, what Instagram basically did, it created the feature out of an entire app. So now what you used to download as an app became just another feature on a product. So one, it was a very bold move what Instagram did. I personally believe it's a big and a bold move what Instagram did. Second, the wherein the Instagram already has a huge audience and a huge traction. There are millions of users using Instagram every day. With the introduction of Reel, right, it will be churning the same users again, and these users will now not go to new platforms wherein they would have gone if this 15-second void would not have been filled. And therefore the Indian apps or all the other apps, in fact, if TikTok comes back ever, this will be a huge challenge. This will it will be a huge challenge for the other apps to acquire customers. Now they'll have to spend big money, huge money. They'll have to rather spend a lot of money on ads in terms of acquiring new customers. Let me give you a perspective here. Imagine if Reels would not have been launched, right? If Reels would not have been launched, the entire 15-second video or a micro video space would have been empty, and all of these apps would have been competing with each other, primarily Indian apps, in the absence of TikTok, right? And of course, TikTok would have suffered if it would have come back because again of the China factor. But now we all have Instagram. We all are on Instagram. Instagram filled up that void like real quick, and now without taking the pain of downloading another app, without taking the pain of going onto a different platform, which was any which way supposed to spend money in acquiring you. Now, Instagram created a feature out of our entire product, and you will not leave the platform. I think that's a very nice, very bold, very thought through move. So, audience engagement and capturing of audience will now be there on Instagram. It will be difficult for other apps to kind of acquire new audience or divert new audience from the existing void, right? Third and most importantly, this particular move will also create a huge social divide now, because a lot of influencers, a lot of tier one Instagram English speaking players and audience, like, were moving on to TikTok in order to create micro video content to increase their influence, because TikTok was any which is providing a lot of organic reach. So there are only two platforms which were giving you huge organic reach: TikTok and LinkedIn, right? And TikTok being a mobile video platform was a great place to be in, a great place to go, right? So what happened that now, because of this particular release of Reel, these influencers will not go on to TikTok, killing the audience of TikTok and segregating the audience of TikTok, which is English speaking, metro, in high quality audience, leaving TikTok as only the platform of the poor. Sorry if that hurts anybody, but that's the reality. And I'm sure that's gonna happen soon, because TikTok will only be left as a platform for of poor or uneducated or people who cannot build their audience or liberate their audience on Instagram. And any which ways, people who are already on Instagram, right, will massively leverage, because Instagram is going to give Reels a massively crazy high organic push, right? Because it's a new platform, it's a new feature they've added. So any platform, when they release a new feature, they always make sure that they're giving it a super high organic push, so more people start adopting it. And that is what's going to happen now, right? People will be using Reels like crazy. Everybody in modern system will adopt Instagram Reels, leaving TikTok and apps like these with a huge void. So Instagram has already won this war, heads down. There's no doubt in this that Instagram Instagram has come and conquered. I think this is a massive push, and trust me, after you'll see a lot of reels coming in. If you see in your timeline, if you go and open up your Instagram app and start scrolling now, you'll see massive amount of reels coming in your timeline automatically. So I think they have won the game hands down. Nobody can beat them now. Okay, now moving on to the last part, that why eventually I believe Instagram will become the ultimate winner, and why it will the go-to platform, or why it will be the only sole survivor, right? As I said, it was able to fill a huge gap very quickly. So Instagram has kind of covered or got into the space has covered the void which was left because of TikTok, right? The other apps will keep on fighting amongst themselves, because they will be trying to acquire new customers, or maybe they'll be trying to acquire the customers of TikTok. But because Instagram is already a very popular tier one or a A grade application, the existing audience will leverage it like crazy, and will leverage the huge organic reach it's able to provide. People trust the platform as a lifestyle platform. Brands trust the platform as a decent platform, and therefore a lot of money will start getting pushed into Instagram, even from brand side, right? Last but not the least, and the most important critical point that I think will change the game, is because introduction of reels will also give a blow of life or give another push to IGTV. When IGTV was launched, YouTube technically they wanted to become a YouTube of mobile, but they were not able to do that for a very basic, simple reason. There's a reason why IGTV still has a massive organic reach, right? Considering and or rather comparing it with the Instagram post. So if you put an IGTV video, will have more organic views than a or your normal IGT Instagram post, right? And this is the reason. So this reel is going to give a massive push to Instagram, IGTV rather, in the way that now people will leverage the high organic reach of 15-second reel to summarize the content on IGTV and give it a link back, right? And on the other hand, IGTV bites are going to go on reels so that the better audience can be reached. If it doesn't blow your mind, I think you should hear this out again and you should start researching about it. This literally should blow your mind. If you are a content marketer, if you're a video marketer, if you're somebody from the startup space, if you're somebody from the product side, this should literally make you go bonkers. Trust me on that. And if not, then there's some problem with you, because this is a game changer, right? And all this is happening on a product, on an app which is mobile only. Can you beat that? This entire app is mobile only. Unlike Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram is mobile only. So this creates a highly productive, highly fertile environment to Instagram, for Instagram to be the sole survivor, rather be the king of the video content space. You have smartphones available, you have high quality internet available, you have tier A influencers available. There's a product which caters or fills the void of 15 seconds. That 15-second thing has a massive high organic reach. People trust the platform. If it is not blowing your mind, you should go back to the marketing 101. This is a huge game changer, my friends. If you are listening to this live, and if you are, as I said, if you're a marketer, if you are a digital content creator, if you are an influencer, if you are a brand, if you are a startup guy, and if you missed on leveraging reels in next 6 months, you will miss on a gold pot, right? That's it. So I hope this is the end where I want to end. Now, I will take a few more questions that have come to me, and then we will wrap. Okay. So Neeraj ji asked the question that TikTok substitution in India in the MT space. I think, as I said, I think, and what I spoke in last 15 minutes, I think that basically is the answer to this particular question. That I think they would have been a competitor or substitute to TikTok in form of Mitro or Roposo or any other app like that. But I think now Instagram Reels is going to pick up that space. So I think now it will be Instagram Reels that's going to fill that void, and not just rather fill that void. It will even shut down the doors for TikTok to come back. So I think this is my answer to this question, and I believe and I hope that uh, this if marketers are able to properly leverage this 15-second video content thing on Instagram, the brands will get transformed, because any which way they're going to they're going to get huge reach, and it's massive reach already out there. I have put in 2 to 3 reels, and almost in one of them there's almost nothing that I'm speaking, but it has got 1,000 views, right? Can you beat that? So it's literally going crazy out there. Yep. So before I end, okay. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this AMA with DNK on Saturday. I hope you have a great weekend, and all those who are still with me on the live or still watching, thank you so much for being there. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for posting your questions. As I said, I hope and I really will put in all my efforts to make sure it becomes a really big and a successful show, and I'm able to deliver you a lot of value so that and I'm able to answer all your questions from the startup, pitching, funding, and product point of view, and I'm able to bring a lot of value for you guys. So thank you so much for watching today's show. I'll wrap with this. Have a great Sunday. Have a great weekend. Have a great Saturday night. And if you do not still follow me on Instagram, go and follow me on Instagram. I put all my weekly content there, and hope to see you on the other side. Thank you so much and have a good night. Have a great weekend. Have a great Sunday. Thank you so much for joining AM with DNK. Until next time, I'll see you on next Saturday, 9 p.m. sharp. And next Saturday's topic we'll be talking about business models and innovations around startups. So until next Saturday, see you at 9 p.m. Bye bye. Have a good night. Take care.